Hi, this is Dr. Annette Bosworth, and today I'm going to answer a question that I get a lot. This question is, Doc, how do you begin on a ketogenic diet? And it can feel a little overwhelming, and the rules aren't hard, but in most of my patients, it is a very dramatic change in the way that they're choosing their food. When it comes to changes in lifestyle, in eating habits, if you change a lot of things at once, the chances that those changes are going to stick is proportional to how quickly you make those changes. So for instance, if you wake up on January 1st and say, I'm gonna go exercise every day for an hour and a half, and you haven't exercised at all in 5 years, the chances you're still gonna be exercising by the end of the month is pretty low. That's too big of a gap, too big of a change to be sustainable. That's just not how human nature works. When a crisis drives a change, you can see people make a very dramatic change, but once again, once the crisis wears away, they don't have the statistics that say that they stay in that habit. Let's start with some of the rules that I tell patients when they're trying to adopt a ketogenic diet. The first rule I have patients look at, because the rule is very easy to figure out: no calories in your drink the first week. If you're the average American who does drink sugar in their drinks, and that can mean that you drink juice, you drink soda pop, you drink milk, all of those have calories in your drinks. And even though the ketogenic diet isn't focused on calories, most of the drinks that we drink are filled with carbohydrates. So the kind of drinks that have no calories in it include coffee, tea, and water. Those are the simplest ones. Next question is almost invariably, can I have a sugar-free soda pop? Can I have sports drinks with just sugar substitutes? And I encourage my patients to actually say no to that. It becomes a habit we have to tackle in one place or another. And I find that at the beginning, there are still so many other carbohydrates that they're doing that if they take out the calories from all of their drinks, and in that they include the sugar sweeteners, your palate, your tongue, your taste buds will get used to this. It isn't easy for them to do that, but if they cut out the sugar substitutes in their drinks at the beginning, I find their success is an incredible journey. It's been a tested strategy that I continue to support. So, first week, no calories in your drinks. The second week is no white food. If you've ever looked at a paleo diet, or if you've ever looked at the no starch foods, this is where you're headed in week 2. Again, we're trying to take on the habits that are stepping into ketosis, because most of the time when patients come to see me and they want to get on a ketogenic diet, they are your average American, filled with carbohydrates in so many sections that if we start with drinks the first week and the second week we take on the white foods. So that means no potatoes, no pastas, no rice, and no bread. At first, this can be very striking. It's actually why I put this in the second week. The rules are not hard, but they are there's a little more wiggle room. Like I had a patient come in telling me that they've given up their rice, potatoes, bread, and pasta, but they were still eating donuts in the morning. Again, the rules are super easy and clear cut when I say no calories in the drinks the first week. If the second week you move to no white foods, and that really does mean that you're trying to cut out carbs. So obviously donuts and pastries and danishes are not on the list, but neither are potatoes, rice, pastas, or bread. We're looking for 7 days of success in a row before we add another change. If it takes you 2 weeks to give up calories in your drinks, then don't be in such a hurry. We want a change that's going to last for a lifetime. And the ketogenic diet is a change that lasts for a lifetime. But the people that I lose in the first couple of weeks on a ketogenic diet are those that have such high carbohydrates in their diet. And then they try to take on all these rules so quickly by starting with no calories in their drinks, moving to the no white foods on the second week, and then the third week I tell them to remove temptations. I think an analogy of helping an alcoholic get sober, if you've ever had to walk a friend through that, removing the alcohol from all the silly places that they stash alcohol where they've been drinking in secrecy. But it's very similar to what happens with carbohydrates and the temptations that you'll find everywhere. If you've read the book Any Way You Can, which is the book I wrote about my mom as she walked through a ketogenic diet in a crisis moment, we cleaned out her farm cupboard where her pantry could have fed half of Texas. It was so filled with foods. She could have survived a nuclear holocaust. Just unbelievable amount of storage of food. That is not the exception. That is the rule. She is like many of folks in her generation where they've got stored foods and temptations layered through their life. So to remove the temptations is another major point of success. We encourage you to do this with a friend because much like your alcoholic, this is an addiction. You might not see it that way until you go to give it up and you can't believe how much the craving will just circulate in your mind that you want that food that you've had at 7 o'clock every night for the last 30 years. In my mother's case, we cleaned out the pantry, we filled up the donate boxes, we wiped down the pantry. That was very important for when we stepped over the threshold and she started measuring her ketones. I think the fourth and final step I ask patients to do when they're beginning a ketogenic diet is start forming a tribe. Find a friend, find somebody that you can be accountable to. When my mother and I did this, we lived 100 miles apart. So we would share our ketone strip results with one another, but we would also post on our Facebook page what we were doing, give each other a little accountability. And you just can't believe how important that is when you're changing a behavior like this. So the 4 rules are no calories in your drink the first week. The second week is no white food. The third step is to remove the temptation, clean out the cupboards. It's really important. And then step 4 is find a friend, start a little tribe. All right, until next time.